Today's story is the story of O Tei. The story of O Tei. O Tei is a woman's name. Her real name is Tei, but in Japan, when we call a woman, we put O before the real the name to show respect. So, if her real name or name is Tei, but when we call her, we say O Tei-san, O Tei-san. Or if your name is Hana, and then you say Ohana-san, Ohana-san, yeah. But or sometimes you just don't say, you don't have san here, O Tei, or Ohana, yeah. But anyway, the story of O Tei, and it's about a Japanese woman, but this woman, young woman, 15 years old, she dies. Okay. A long time ago in Japan, there was a man. And he was a young man, and his name was Chosei. Chosei was his name. His father was a doctor. His father was a physician. So Chosei also wanted to become a doctor, and he was going to school. Well, Chosei had a girlfriend, or, this girl was somebody whom he knew for a long time. Chosei was 19 years old, and there was a girl. Her name was O Tei. Her name was O Tei, and she was only 15 years old. They loved each other. They grew up together. They were friends. They grew up together. His father, a doctor, knew O Tei's father, and so the two fathers both said Chosei and O Tei would get married when they grow up. And so the arrangement was made, and Chosei was going to get married to O Tei at the end of, when he finishes his school. And so he was almost, ready to graduate from his school, and he was 19 years old, and O Tei was only 15 years old, but they were going to get married soon. But one day, O Tei was attacked. She was attacked. She was attacked by a sickness. She was attacked by illness. She was attacked by a disease, and it was a very serious one, fatal disease. Fatal disease means this is going to cause death. So she's going to die. Fatal. It is deadly. Death. It's deadly disease. You're going to die. There is no way you can save her. Okay? So she was attacked by a fatal disease, and she became sick. Now, one day, O Tei knew that she was going to die very, very soon. And so O Tei asked her parents to call Chosei. And Chosei came to see O Tei. Let's see. This is her bed, okay? And this is her bedding, futon, yeah? And so she's She's sleeping. She's sleeping. Okay? And Chosei came and he knelt. He knelt. He didn't sit down. He knelt next to her bed, a futon, and he said, "Are you all right?" Okay? And then O Tei said, "Chosei, I know that I'm going to die very soon. There is something that I want to tell you," she said. "We have been engaged to get married very soon, and I am so sorry that I'm going to die very soon. But please do not be sad when I die," she said. She said, "because I know that we are going to meet again," she said. "We are going to meet again." And so Chosei didn't know what to say, so he said, of course we'll meet in heaven," he said to O Tei. Then O Tei strangely smiled, and she said, No, she said, "we will meet again in this life." So he didn't know what to say. She said, "Will you wait for me?" She said, "I will die, but then I will be born again as a baby. I will be born again as a girl, and I will grow up to be a young woman, and I can marry you if you promise me. If you promise to wait for me, I will be born again as a girl and come back," she said. "Will you promise me?" She said to him. He said, "Of course, I will wait for you." Then she said, "Do you doubt? Are you doubting?" And he said, "Oh, no, but," he said, "when you die and when you are born again, you will have a different name and you will have a different body. You'll look different. Your face will be different. How am I supposed to find you?" he said. He said, "Can you give me a sign, or can you give me a token? Can you give me a sign? Maybe you can tell me that you will look like this, or you'll be about this height, or can you give me a sign?" he said to her. And she said, "No, only God or Buddha can give you, but I cannot give you that sign. But you will know that I am the person," he said, as she said to him. And he said, she said, "Will you promise me? If you want me to, live, if you want me to be born again as a girl, then you have to promise me. And if you promise me, I will come back," she said. Okay? And so he said he wanted to soothe. He wanted to comfort her because she was dying. And so he wanted to be kind to her. He was eager to soothe her. He really eager to do something. He really, really wanted to make her feel good. He wanted to soothe. Okay? Soothe means to calm her down, because she's saying, I'm gonna come back as a child again, and will you meet me? Something strange. So he was eager to calm her down, soothe her. And so he said, "Of course I will promise," he said. He said, "It will be a joy. It will be pleasure to wait for you," he said. "I'll be happy to wait for you," he said. Okay? And then after he said that, she stopped talking. After she said that, after he promised her, she stopped talking. And then she closed her eyes. She closed her eyes and she died. She died. Well, everybody was very, very sad. And after they buried her, after they buried her, Chosei made a Buddhist altar. In Japan, there is something like this. There is this is a Buddhist altar, okay? This, thing like this, and they put something here, and they have something here, and I don't know what else they got, because, I don't know what else they have, because we are not a Buddhist. My family is Shintoism or something, and so we have a shrine, not a Buddhist altar. But anyway, they have something like this, and then every day the family comes here and they pray. They give offerings. Offerings means like something sweet or fruits or something, so the food, so that the dead can smell it. I don't know. Okay, but anyway, offerings. But anyway, Chosei made a Buddhist altar, and he came to the Buddhist altar, and he talked to O Tei. And then what he did was, because he remembered his promise, he wrote a letter. Okay, Japanese write from left to right, from top to bottom. Okay, so he wrote a letter to O Tei. He said he was very sad that she left, but he is going to wait for her if she was and if she was going to be born again, and he is willing to wait for her, and he would like to marry her again. Not again, but he would like to marry her. That's what he said. He promised in his letter, and he put the letter here. Okay, he put the letter here, and every day he came to the altar and he prayed and he talked to O Tei. Okay. Now, but Chosei was a only son. He was an only son, and I shouldn't have erased it. Okay, he was an only son, and so his father. Now that Chosei graduated from his school, and he was a doctor, and he was the only son, he had to get married. And he had to have a child and things like that. And so his parents suggested to him that he gets married. And so he did. He could not refuse his parents, suggestions. It's 300 years ago. Children obeyed their parents. And so Chosei got married. And Chosei got married to a woman, and we don't know her name, but maybe her name was Ohana. Okay? Chosei got married to Ohana-san, and they had a baby. Okay? They had a baby, a little boy, and they lived very happily. Oh, no, this doesn't look like a boy. Sorry. Whoops. Okay, little boy. Okay? Little boy, and then they lived in a beautiful home together, and they were very happy for a while. So Chosei was only son. He was an only son, and therefore he had to follow his parents' suggestions. And so Chosei got married to a woman, and her name was Ohana. Okay? And then they had a baby, and they lived very happy together. Well, even after Chosei got married to Ohana-san, and even after he had a family, Chosei always came to the Butsudan, came to the Buddhist altar, and he always prayed, and he always talked to O Tei. Nevertheless means even though he did this every day, because it was a habit, every day he came to the altar and he prayed and he talked to O Tei, but gradually he began to forget about O Tei. Her face, he could not remember her face, and he just, the memory became very, very vague. He couldn't remember that much anymore. And so, they lived happily together, and he was doing well as a doctor and things like that. But then after 15 years, 16 years, Chosei's parents died. And then misfortunes began to happen. Unlucky things began to happen. And his wife died. And soon his son died. Now, his home was not a happy home anymore. It was a lonely place. Nobody was there. His parents are gone, his wife was gone, and his child was gone. And it was a very lonely place. It was a unpeopled place. No people place. It's a lonely space for him. It was a desolate, unpeopled, desolate home. Nobody's there, very lonely. Somebody, it's an abandoned place. It's not abandoned, but not yet abandoned, because he still lived here. But he is the only person who lived here. And so it was a very lonely place. He went to the altar and he prayed, but he couldn't remember who O Tei was like, because it's been 17 years. So he decided that he did not want to live in this house anymore, because there was lots of memories about his parents and his wife and child. And so he decided to leave his house, and he decided to move. He decided to travel. He decided to go on a long journey. He decided to go on a long journey, and he left this, he left this desolate house. He left, and he began to travel. He didn't know where he was going, but he went. And he traveled, and I don't know how long he traveled. He went this way and that way, and he stayed in a hotel for a month, and he went to somewhere else and stayed for another month, and he traveled all over the places. One day, he came to a place called Ikao, I think it was. But anyway, he came to a place where they had a very nice hot spring. There was an inn. Okay, there was an inn. And it was a place where they can, sit in a hot spring, and it was a famous resort area. So he came to this place, and he decided to stay in this inn. So he went to the front desk, and he said he wanted to stay in this place. And so, of course, the innkeeper said, of course, and they led him to his room. Now, this is his room, okay, hotel room. And then when he came into the hotel room, he was sitting in a hotel room. Then there was a knock on the door, and then, it was a room service. And so he said, yes, please come in. The woman came in. When Chosei saw this woman, his heart jumped. His heart leaped. Strangely, this woman looked just like O Tei. He was watching her, and then she came and she bowed. She said, welcome to this inn. And then she began to bring him tea, and she began to set up different things in the room. She moved here and there, and she did different things in the room. And then he was watching her, and then every move she made, every action she did, reminded him of O Tei. So finally, Chosei said to the woman, excuse me, miss, you remind me of the person that I knew a long time ago. May I ask you, where are you from? What is your name? He said to her. And then she said, my name is O Tei. I am from Niigata. She said, your name is Chosei. I have been waiting for you, she said. You put the letter in the altar, and you said you promised to marry me again if I was born again. That's why I was born again as a girl, and I waited for you for 17 years, she said. And after she said this, she, bang, fell down unconscious. She lost her conscience. She fell down. She couldn't, she fell down and she didn't wake up. She's not dead. She's just unconscious. Well, she fell down. So Chosei came over and he said, please, are you okay? And then she woke up and he said, tell me again, what is your name? Where are you from? And then she said, she told her a different name. Maybe she said, my name is Oshizu. But then Chosei said, but you did say your name is O Tei. She doesn't remember. Did I really say that? But it was enough for Chosei, because she looked just like O Tei, and she did say her name was O Tei, and she was from Niigata, and she had been waiting for him because he had written a letter saying that he would wait for her for many years in the letter, and he placed it in the altar, And that's the reason why she said she was born again. He thinks he heard it, and so he married her. He married her, and they lived very happily together for many, many years. But the woman never remembered what she had said. And Chosei too wasn't sure anymore whether he heard it. It became very unclear, uncertain, obscure. Obscure means uncertain, unknown. He doesn't know, he doesn't remember. Did I really hear it? But they lived happily together anyway, so it was okay. The end.